Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this very special live Q&A. Medyo matagal na tayong hindi nag-Q&A in our LCF, low carb and fasting community. So today, magla-live Q&A tayo specifically for a cause. So merong beneficiary yung live Q&A na to. This time, you are welcome to ask questions. Okay? Pero this time, meron tayong beneficiary because one of my mentors, yung pinaka-close sa akin, asked me for a favor. She wanted to help yung mga bata in Soriano Elementary School in La Castellana, Negros Occidental, na magkaroon ng shoes because there was an incident na merong very important event sa kanila na hindi maka-attend yung isang bata simply because requirement na formal yung attire and part of that attire is a shoe. At nakita niya na marami palang batang walang sapatos and they cannot attend those very significant na events sa kanilang childhood simply because wala silang sapatos. So we collaborated with them to give a shoe this coming opening sa August 2022 na school opening. We will provide a minimum of 100 shoes to 100 kids in Soriano Elementary School. This is a joint project between my foundation, Bayanihan Mission, and the PEPPI, or People Engaged in People Project Inc. So for those who want to donate na gustong magpa-tax deduced, so it's tax deductible, just send us a message and show your proof of donation and we will provide those receipt for you. For those naman na hindi naman kailangan, then okay lang din. And for the proceeds, you can send it to the foundation's account. So it's under BPI, Josephine Grace Chua Rojo Foundation, and 2563080933. If you have questions at wala kayong pangbigay for those kids, then it's okay also. Kasi actually, even if walang magbibigay, me and my future husband, andyan si future husband, si Dr. Kentan, will be the one giving everything that they need. But we will just share this opportunity to give and to provide happiness for those kids with you guys. So, this is actually a free live Q&A for you na meron ng mga questions na hindi natin nasasagot most times because our live Q&A is mostly between our exclusive LCF Masterclass groups lang like we did this morning. So, this morning, merong mga nagtatanong, especially in our masterclass group, specific questions na usually not tackled in our topics because mostly meron tayong topics and one question lang na sinasagot in our live. So we will take our time tonight. Hindi ka nagmamadali, love? Hindi. Thank you. So yan. So yan lang and I will just flash this one from time to time for those who need the details. Okay? So sige, simulan na tayo. All clear? Okay, we will start. So, hi sa lahat ng mga nag-hi at nag-hello, Hong Kong. Ano pampalasa nyo sa pagkain kung may sabaw yung luto? Alam nyo, yung pinakamasarap na sabaw is actually, especially with meat, yung walang kahit anong ingredients, just salt. So, kapag ito ay pinakuluan, because when I do meal preps, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung meal preps ko. It's just the chicken or the pork or beef na pinakuluan lang. And yung nilalagay ko dyan, yung ginagawa ko kasi the moment na dumating yung meat, na-thaw pa siya, yung hindi pa siya galing sa refrigerator, yung galing talaga sa palengke, niluluto na yan. And then yung pag half cook, luto na actually. Yung enough lang na maluto lang sa loob, pero hindi fully cooked, hindi yung sobrang latang-lata na. So, nilalagyan ko lang ng water, salt, and vinegar. Bakit may vinegar? Because it will easily remove yung langsa and then it will also add as preservative. And then yung salt naman, it is of course electrolytes. But when it comes to food, it is the most important ingredient for it to be tasty. Ang ating taste bud works in a way na kapag merong sodium chloride na naka-attach dito, it makes the other taste sensations more pronounced. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Hindi dahil merong salt yan, yung maalat yung yan lang yung malalasahan mo. When you actually add salt into anything, like even mga something sweet, the sweet becomes even sweeter. Yung malinamnam, mas nagiging malinamnam. But if you put other spices, then pwede yung mamask. And a good blend of spices, marami. Depende sa inyo. My very basic na herbs and spices would just be yung mga mixed herbs. Yung merong rosemary, basil, thyme, yung combination na yon, that's already an Italian or French seasoning mix. And then pepper. So very basic. And also, I think meron akong binili na recent ngayon lang. It would be the, yan. So, manghang because I also love spicy food. So, kapag pinakuluan nyo yan, isang kahit maliit na sisidlan lang, boil it and come to boil and then lagay dyan yung meat. Usually, nasa 3 to 5 minutes lang, pwede nang i-evacuate and then another batch, and then you will be left with a concentrated, very yummy meat broth. So, ipakita ko sa inyo yung meat broth na yan. Isang question ko lang, no? Dami-dami na siya. So, eto. This is the meat broth. Yan. So, nagsettle na. So, this is just salt and then vinegar na naluto na. And yung mga oil dyan would be the oil coming from either chicken or pork. And ito yung ang mga meat. So, this is a meat sample. So, this one. So, chicken. So, yan. Wala pa siyang masyadong timpla. Ay, thank you, love. And what I usually do, kapag meron ng ganyan, it's very flexible. Kung pwede kang magprito, nagmamadali, this food prep na paraan is para sa mga kulang ng time sa buhay. Thank you, love. Kung gusto mong pinirito, so diretso. You can just have a fresh na fried chicken in 3 minutes kasi nga luto na siya and nasa baba lang siya ng ref. Hindi na kailangan ito. Kung gusto nyo naman ng may sabaw, meron na ring sabaw na nakaseparate. It's important to separate that kasi mas madaling silang masira. Hindi sila tatagal if magkasama yung meat and sabaw. And if you gusto nyo ng adobo, you can still use a part of that sabaw. And then you can enjoy that. And kung nagpa-fasting kayo at gusto nyo lang ng broth, so that meat broth is okay. So yan yung question ni Jobert Defensor. Yun yung pampalasa. Yun lang yun. Isang question lang. Ganon katagal yung pag-answer. Kaya hindi ako nagla-live Q&A masyado. Kasi grabe yung mga yung magta-take ng time. But tonight, we will take our time. Hello, Fel, Raquel. Hello, Tito Cecil. Nandiyan si Tito Cecil. Ayan. Hello, Tito Cecil.
Hi, Tito
Thank
Cecil.
you for your support in our wedding. So, si Liza May Togon. Tutulungan mo ko, Love. Ikaw ba ang magbabasa, Love? Yay! Sige. Si Love ang tagabasa ng ating questions. Yan. Liza. Shout out to Liza. And then, sige.
Sige. Doc, I am underweight. Pwede po ba ako pag low carb?
Sige. Actually, si Love, kaya niya nang sagutin yan. Pero sige, ako ang sasagot niyan. Pwedeng mag-low carb because yung low carb, hindi naman pang weight loss lang. Pwede siyang pang weight gain. Gaya ni Love. Nagpapa-weight gain ka ba ngayon? Muscle building. And ano yung essential? I think napag-usapan natin to kanina in our masterclass. Ano nga yung sagot on how to build muscles? Like what you're doing. Diba?
Yes. Low carb, tapos more protein, fats, and then dapat yung calories hindi siya mababa. Enough or more than
what you need in a day kasi you're going to build muscles.
And then
essentials?
Lastly, rest.
Rest and meron ba? Na-mention na ba? Resistance training?
Yeah, pwede yung resistance training. Yeah. Weightlifting.
Yung sabi natin dyan, because when you do that, yung mangyayari, your body will have the motivation to create muscles. Kasi if you are not doing resistance training, you are eating a lot of muscle, a lot of proteins in the form of muscles ng animals. So, yung meat are actually muscles. For those na hindi masyadong alam niyan, I'm saying that kahit obvious siya, Kasi para sa akin before, hindi yan obvious. Because hindi bago ako naging doktor, wala talaga akong alam sa human anatomy. Alam ni Love yan. So, I'm saying that coming from a place na ako mismo before, hindi aware na yung muscles pala ng baka, ng baboy, yun pala yung lean meat na kinakain natin. And that muscle, kapag na-break down sa katawan natin, it's proteins, di ba? It will be broken down into amino acids. And those amino acids, yun din mismo yung magiging component o yung magiging building blocks for us to create our own muscles. So from muscles, digest muscles, but it will not automatically form into muscles unless you use your muscles. Diba? So kailangan
Yes.
talaga merong physical activity. That is resistance training. So ano yung resistance training in layman's term? Yung
Mm,
pinakasimple na
workout.
maintindihan nila. Workout. And then, lifting. So,
Weightlifting.
magbuhat talaga. Okay? Kung wala daw silang budget sa gym, anong pwede nilang buhatin?
Pwede naman body weight lang.
Body weight lang. So, yun. Iniisip ko pa yung ginawa ni Bibi last time. Yung mga water bottles, yung mga mga 10-liter water. Oh, so, 10 liters is somewhat equivalent to 10 kilos of weight. So, pwede yan as basihan. But that is much simpler. Your own body weight is pwede mong gawing weights for you to build muscles. Marami lang yan sa YouTube. So, hindi natin kailangan magbigay ng sample. But yes, pwedeng mag-low carb ang underweight. You can even use low carb to build muscles, especially healthy, dense, and strong muscles with the right amount of rest, positivity, belief, and weightlifting, and of course, high, good quality proteins. Okay? So, what
Mm,
else? Sige,
okay.
hello lang tayo sa kanila.
Hello.
Sino yan siya? Carmen from Japan. And then we also have New York.
Okay.
Yan, ganyan.
And then hi po Doc, advisable po ba mag-barley para sa diabetes and high cholesterol?
So I think the barley that they are referring to are the barley na yung wheat, barley grass. Hindi yung barley kasi yung barley na totoo. Alam naman, oh. So, kasi yung barley is a grain, di ba? Pero yung supplement na barley ngayon are the ones na yung mga baby na grass, na yung mga green. Yung kita mo ba yun? I think maraming nagbebenta yan ngayon ng mga ganyan. So it is said to have a lot of vitamins and minerals and micronutrients. Okay? It is okay with low carb kasi parang halos puro fiber naman siya. And since it's also bitter, so marami siyang mga trace minerals. And as to say na okay siya sa diabetes and high cholesterol, meaning it will not lead you into to becoming more diabetic or having too much cholesterol. No, it will not. So it's okay. But as to benefits, maybe others are seeing a lot of with this one, and since it's low carb, then it's also okay. But if you are going to consume barley, but you are still eating cakes and sodas and a lot of rice, then maybe that barley may not be of much help. So, if you want to take barley, if you have the budget for it, then by all means you do so and you share with us if it's effective. So, hindi siya required, but hindi rin siya necessary. Hindi siya prerequisite. So, it's going to be on you kung ano yung kinoconsider mong effective for you. Sa akin, ano bang effective sa akin na pinapaniwalaan kong supplement? Wala naman, no?
Wala ka
Real
naman
food.
tinitake. Ah,
Oo, wala naman ako tinitake. Real food. Mas gusto ko kasi kinukuha ko yung vitamins and minerals ko from real food that I enjoy. And kanya-kanya yan. If you enjoy taking barley, then I'm so happy for you. Okay?
okay. Evening.
Good evening sa lahat. Happy Sunday. And then, Spider C, Valenzuela.
Okay. So, 1 week into low carb diet po and I am getting non-stop migraines. Normal po ba ito?
It's not normal if you are doing it right. If you are not doing, if you are, if it's not normal if you are doing it right. So probably you are doing something that is not the best or not ideal. And the most common mistake na nangyayari sa mga taong hindi ginagawa ito ng the guided way would be electrolytes. So maybe you cut down all your carbs immediately and you are successful and I'm so proud of you. Pero baka hindi mo na-upscale yung inyong intake of salt, especially if you started a diet na medyo nag-avoid ng salt. Because, di ba, pinalaki tayo sa ating medical training that salt is bad, na kailangan i-cut down
Oo.
yung salt. So if you've been afraid as well na hindi na kayo masyadong nag-salt before at bigla kayong nag-low carb. So you are actually low in sodium intake beforehand. And the moment you do low carb, magkakaroon yan ng pagbaba ng insulin level sa katawan. And the moment that your insulin level is low, then your body's capacity to hold on to salt is also low. So that's why sabi nila, the first week of weight loss in low carb is actually not real weight loss but just water loss. So yes, it is true because hindi naman lahat, but partly it is true because your tendency to retain water is also less. And water retention is a sign of inflammation. So the moment you remove your body from retaining too much water, then you are actually already okay or healing from that inflammation. It is just water loss, but it is also a loss that you should celebrate. Kasi you've been carrying those extra water weight unnecessarily. And since you already are successful with eliminating that, kailangan you make sure na you don't lose electrolytes. So, pinakasimple lang, do the salt fix. So, I usually have a salt with me or I just make sure na yung kinakain ko is somewhat salty. Yung prepare ko ng mga food, medyo salty.
Salty. Yeah.
Pero okay lang or
Okay lang,
too
okay lang.
salty?
Hindi.
Pero
Sakto lang.
salty siya as compared to the usual na pangluto ng iba, no?
Especially yung yung
Adobo?
patty.
Yung patty na sobrahan ko talaga
Nasobrahan
yung
talaga
ano,
yun, kaya-
nasobrahan talaga yun, oo. So that's why kapag kinain mo yung patty, dapat i-pair mo doon sa
Aside from
less.
that, okay naman yun.
Yun talaga na
Yun,
sobrahan
nasobrahan na
kasi per kilo of meat, 1 tablespoon lang sana ng salt. So yung nabili natin, 'di ba, it's combination na of beef and pork. So nalagyan ko siya ng 2 tablespoon na salt
kaya
dahil
pala.
akala ko 2 kilos siya pero 1.7 lang pala.
Okay.
So, merong mga reason. So, pero mahal ako ni Love at hindi niya kinain pa rin niya kahit maalat. So, ganon. So, yun. But salt, pero hindi sumakit yung ulo mo.
Hindi na.
Hindi na, kasi sasakit yung ulo mo kung kulang ka ng salt. And if ever nakakonsume ka ng more salt than you need, like the beef patty na kinain mo, our body is actually capable of eliminating those extra salt sa ating katawan, especially if you still don't have problems with your kidneys. So, for those naman na meron ng kidney problem, then it's another long topic. We've discussed that thoroughly in our LCF Masterclass for CKD, chronic kidney disease. But generally, for the average na healthy adults, hindi kailangan matakot sa salt. So, Spider C, kung meron ngayon, since sabi mo, non-stop yung migraine, I suggest kumuha ka ng isang pinch of salt dyan, 1 or 2 pinch of salt, take water, and then observe it for 5 minutes. Parang magic. Pwedeng mawala agad.
Okay. So next, pwede mag-electrolytes daily, Doc?
Yes, pwede. At kailangan talaga yan. But it will be a matter of where you are going to take that electrolytes. So, I don't take electrolyte drink every day. In fact, I don't drink at all unless I'm fasting extended time. So 2 days, 3 days, 4 days of fasting. That's the only time that I prepare electrolyte drink. Because on a normal day, na kumakain naman ako kahit umad lang, I make sure that it's something a little salty. So major electrolytes that we need would be sodium chloride. So sa mga nagsabing para sa mayaman lang yung low carb and fasting, actually no. Asin is very, very essential, very, very important, and also very, very cheap. You can even have it for free. Punta ka lang ng dagat, higa-higa ka lang doon, parang yung inom-inom ka ng konti. No, something on. So, pwedeng libre yung salt. So, but if you are referring to electrolyte drink, then kung gusto mo na dun manggagaling yung salt mo, and other electrolytes like potassium and magnesium, then pwede din. But generally, I don't even take potassium and magnesium na supplement because I love to get them from natural sources like magnesium, like from nuts and seeds. Hindi naman ako makain ng nuts every day, but in a week nakakain ako 2 to 3 times a week. So enough na yon to sustain my magnesium needs. And for potassium naman, not so much then, especially if you are ensuring na tama yung inyong salt intake because sodium will actually lock in. Para siya yung magiging seal to make sure that your potassium inside your cells will remain normal. Hindi sila lalabas. So that is why I don't drink electrolyte water and I only get headache kapag hindi ako nakakainom ng water and enough salt. And that only happens when I cannot do so because nasa operating room ako 6 to 7 hours straight of surgery na sterile at hindi naman pwedeng habang naka-opera kami, mag-aasa ko na pwede mo ba akong painumin. Pero alam mo ba, before naging ano pa, chika lang, no? Before pa naging, naging parang standard talaga yung sterility in the operating room, merong mga panahon before daw, hindi ko na rin naabutan yan, na while doing surgery, yung mga surgeons na nagugutom o parang nahihilo, meron ng ready na mga pagkain within the operating room habang nag-oopera. And pre-COVID pa to ha, and then, sinusubo ng nurse yung pagkain sa loob ng mask. And then, yun din, merong mga straw. Meron daw noon. Kwento na lang nila yon kasi nung nag-ISO na, ISO certified na yung hospital namin, wala nang ganun, of course. But before daw, ganun talaga kagrabe yung difference when it comes to the standard of practice na may mga coke sa loob ng operating room at merong mga straw. At kapag parang nahihilo na yung surgeon, so ganun muna, inom ka muna doc. So ganyan. So hindi na yan pwede ngayon. So that's why may mga instances, no, lately, di ba, nasabi ko sa iyo, sumasakit yung ulo ko. Yeah, and it's because of that. And that's only very, very seldom. Okay? So,
Hello, Doc. Excited for my lab test at Life Health and Life Diagnostic.
wow! Thank you, Engr, for supporting Life and Health Summit. Summit?
Health and
Ano, tama ba?
Yeah, Health and Life Summit.
Health
HLS.
and Life Summit Diagnostic in Karkar, Cebu. So that's the laboratory that we support in Karkar, Cebu. So para sa mga gusto mag-meet and greet, sorry for the little inconvenience, but we really, really appreciate kung sino man ang makaka-take time na pumunta ng Karkar, Cebu to have their labs taken at HLS Diagnostic Center para to join our meet and greet. Our meet and greet this coming September 8, 2022. And para meron kayong motivation to go to Karkar aside from the labs, doon din yung isa sa pinakamasarap na lechon. And also chicharon, which are all okay in low carb. Meron bang gala doon? Like beach or wala masyado, no?
Wala.
But daanan siya.
Daanan.
Going to
Malboal.
Badjan,
Ano pa ba?
Santander, sa other side, pero malayo na.
Malayo na yun.
Malayo na.
Straight.
Pero pwede siyang daanan. Ayun. Basta pwede. So if there is a will, there is a way. So thank you so much, Engr, and I'll see you on September 8th, Cebu City meet and greet, and we will read your lab results and also magchika-chika tayo. We will announce the venue soon.
Okay. Good PM po, Doc. May maintenance ako sa heart. May arrhythmia po ako. Pwede po ba ako sa low carb?
So low carb, wala naman siyang contraindication. And kung meron kang arrhythmia, most likely, hindi ka naka-low carb before. Because it's just a byproduct of inflammation. And yung arrhythmia, for those who are not aware, it's the rhythm of the heart na nagkaroon ng damage. So, generally, meron yung pathway na para siyang dapat regular yung kanyang beat. But when you already have arrhythmia, pwedeng irregular yung inyong heartbeat. Okay? So, minsan biglang mabilis and then minsan naman very slow. And it could be dangerous. So, yes, pwedeng mag-low carb to heal your inflammation, but we are not saying that will ultimately or instantly heal your arrhythmia. Huwag basta-basta itigil yung mga maintenance medications. It has to be guided. So you have to work with your physician. We also have low-carb physicians available for consultation if gusto nyo na mas guided yung pagsisimula ninyo. We have Doc Fee Atencio, Doc Mike Atencio, although Doc Fee ngayon is still on leave, recovering, and still on treatment. We have Doc Suzette Encarnado, our diabetologist in Oman, but nag-accept siya ng online consultations. We also have Dr. Andy Magubat, my good friend, who is accepting Dr. Lesal Ganansyal, also my good friend, anesthesiologist practicing low-carb nutrition, and Dr. Brian Castillo, pediatrician, triathlete practicing low-carb for patients now. And for those who need coaching, meron namin tayong mga coaches dyan. And for those na who wants to join our masterclass para mas alam nila, we have a low carb and fasting masterclass by yours truly na meron dyan. One of the topics would be on hypertension and cardiovascular health. So on heart health. So again, reminder, this is a special LCF Live Q&A for a cause, ask question, give a shoe project for the benefit of 100 kids in Soriano Elementary School, La Castellana, Negros Occidental. This school opening on August 2022. This is a project by yours truly, Bayanihan Mission, and People Engage in People Project. For those who want to donate, this is just optional, hindi ito required, but this is the bank account where you can transfer. If you have GCash or PayMaya, there is a GCash to bank option or PayMaya to bank option. So these are the details that you can use. So yan. Thank you for that question. So sana tayo.
Ito. Ask ko lang, nag-low carb po ako for 2 months. Bakit po naka-experience ako na mainit sa dibdib?
May
Ano
mga
mainit?
questions talaga na ganyan na hindi natin maintindihan kung ano yung mainit sa dibdib. So, we need to know more about this, no? Kung ano yung mainit sa dibdib. Mainit sa dibdib. Kung mainit, if it's like going up, it could be a sign of tawag natin
Heartburn?
Heartburn. So by the name, chest, and then burning sensation. So mainit. It could be the closest thing, no? Like medically, heartburn. Heartburn is GERD. So gastroesophageal reflux disease. So meron yang acid na umaakyat. If you have been doing that, try to see kung ano yung low carb foods mo because it might be low carb but it could be inflammatory low carb. Low carb siya pero nasa caution list. Maybe you are eating a lot of low carb goodies, yung mga nasa caution list natin, or you are not eating at the right time. No fasting at all. If you are doing low carb pero 12 midnight na, kumakain ka pa din kahit pa chicharon nga pero 12 midnight at 12:30 tulog ka na. So, pwede yan. When it comes to GERD and heartburn, one of the most important elements that you should incorporate is fasting. Yung iba natatakot kapag meron kang GERD or hyperacidity, takot na takot silang magpalipas ng gutom. But what they don't know is that yung pinaka-primary trigger of acid secretion is actually food. So the moment you stop eating food, your body will just stop secreting acid. So one of the important elements of improving heartburn and GERD would be timing of your last meal and your last water intake. So para sa merong mga GERD and heartburn, itry nyo na yung last meal and yung last solid food intake ninyo would be 4 to 6 hours before your bedtime, and yung last water intake nyo naman ninyo is about 1 to 2 hours before your bedtime. So, kung matutulog kayo ng 10 o'clock, make sure tapos na kayong mag-dinner ng 6 p.m. and yung last water intake niyo around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, hindi na rin kayo kailangan uminom ng tubig ng sobrang dami before bedtime. And you will see the morning you wake up, you feel that your stomach is empty, na hindi yung starving na parang gutom na gutom, but you will feel very, very light and very, very comfortable na hindi kayo magdidigay at wala kayong anything na maasim na mafe-feel sa inyong throat. Have you ever had that? Yung parang, yun, yung may mga acid reflux? Never.
Hindi ko pa na-try.
Never. Pero hindi ka rin very late kumain, di ba? Kung late
Hindi.
kang kumain, late ka rin natulog. Merong
Hmm,
gap
but
or
usually.
usually
Kasi mga 7, 8, hindi na ako kumakain. Yung last meal ko na yun.
last meal na.
Tutulog ako mga 11, 12. So,
So meron talaga about 4 hours
mostly.
na nag-gap from last meal and bedtime. So yan, sige.
Um, Good evening po, Doktora. I am diagnosed with RHD and my doctor told me na magpa-operahan daw ako. Meron pong pa bang pag-asa na hindi ako ma-operahan po? Thanks po.
So
Rheumatic heart
RHD,
disease.
yeah, RHD is rheumatic heart disease, is an autoimmune, part siya ng autoimmune disease spectrum kasi nag-react yung body mo with certain pathogen na merong mga immune complexes. Most common would be strep throat infection, na?
Yes, yes.
Strep throat, GABA HS, ano yan? GABA hemolytic, beta hemolytic strep.
Gaps, yeah.
IGABs, yung ganon. So, nagre-react, nagko-cross-link. So, pwedeng kung, yung iba nga, kung hindi kayo nagka-sore throat, yung iba would be skin infection, na same bacterial infection, especially in kids. Pwedeng atakihin either the heart or the kidneys. So, meron ding nakalimutan ko na kung ano yung sa mga bata, yung hemolytic syndrome or something. Basta merong isang syndrome din sa kidney na inaatake din because of this. So RHD, rheumatic heart disease, is already a damage within the heart. Mostly yung ina-attack nila would be the heart, the valves.
The valves.
Okay? So when there's already structural involvement. So that's already what we call as organ disease na involvement. So it might be necessary to do a surgery. My brother, Bapi, yung aming brother with Down syndrome, he already underwent open heart surgery. Naalala mo yun?
Mm-hmm.
Na? Dami, di ba, sobrang, yun, tagal din yun eh. And then, I'm very, very thankful sa lahat ng tumulong that time. We needed 10 units of blood minimum para sa surgery alone and yung blood type niya is AB. And then marami din nun nag-donate ng blood kasi per blood donation that time, nagkakaroon sila ng deduction na 2,000 peso na deduction sa bill. May ganun. So, sobra. I think marami sa batch natin noon na nag-donate ng blood to help with Bapi's surgery. So, it is successful. So, for me, if your doctor already suggested na magpa-opera, then maybe kailangan na talaga yung operahan. But while you are contemplating and while you are still not decided, so it's best to start living the healthiest way possible. Huwag nang insultuhin pa ang ating katawan by eating inflammatory foods because the moment you are inducing inflammation sa katawan mo, then you are adding more burden to your heart. Then the damage might be even greater. So, ayaw natin magkaroon ng clinical na worsening sa iyong condition. So, and hopefully, as you do low carb, malay mo, baka mag-improve yung inyong condition. You can monitor and then coordinate with your doctor. Maybe give it a month or two or kung ano man and then observe, do another 2D echo. Makikita ba yan?
Sa 2D echo.
But was there any time na yung previous na RHD, like for example, di ba may severity grading yan? From severe, naging less severe? Do you think? Parang wala siguro, no?
Or structural, mahirap na kasi.
May damage na talaga.
Structure na.
So, yung nangyayari kasi dyan, yung mga parang paper-thin na valves sa ating heart, na-damage na. Para siyang kinain. Parang moth-eaten. Meron yun. Or yung ba, very flaccid na. So, yung kang Bapi before, yung sa brother ko, meron siyang congenital heart problem na to begin with. AVSD. Meron siyang AVSD to begin with. And then, meron pang superimposed na RHD. So, kaya kinailangan siyang operahan. And that was already, PGI ba tayo nun? Or
before internship, naalala ko.
Talaga?
Matagal yan.
Yeah, before. I think PGI pa tayo nun that time. And, so that was at least 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And Bapi's doing fine. So, yung heart murmur niya, na yun na yung narinig ko all my life before, ngayon is normal na. Na love talaga. Okay.
Okay. Hello po, doctor. Pwede po ba mag-take ng potassium citrate 3 times a day kahit naka-fasting or walang kain? Thank you po. Need ko po yung sagot niyo, please.
Yung question, bakit ka iinom ng potassium citrate 3 times a day? Baka mag-diarrhea ka niyan. Potassium citrate will have a side effect of loose bowel movement. Dahil baka sa potassium citrate mo, baka mas mag-electrolyte imbalance ka because you might have loose bowel movement. So what's the purpose of potassium citrate 3 times a day? Are you exercising too much? And then, kailangan mo potassium citrate? Because you don't need that much. That much. But depende rin ha, kung ano yung milligrams. Because the supplemental dose of potassium usually na preparations, nasa 99 milligrams lang. And we need 3,500. So, if he will take 3 tabs, so 297. So, it's actually very negligible. Mas mataas pa kung kumain ka ng 1/4 avocado. Mas marami pa yung
Marami pa.
potassium nun kaysa sa potassium citrate. So, yes, pwede naman. But the question is, why do you need and why do you want to do that? If you are fasting, you can just take that under clean fast with electrolytes na category. If you wish to know more, meron tayong 14-day masterclass for you to learn and get to know more kung ano yung specifics na different kinds of fasting and the things that you can take in that won't break your fast. But if wala ka namang, excuse me, physical activity na sobrang strenuous, then just water and salt is enough. And then kung merong panghihina, yes, the common manifestations of hypokalemia or low in potassium would be yung parang nanglalambot, yung sinabi nilang nanglalambot yung kanilang laman ng kanilang, especially lower legs, yung parang hindi ka makatayo or walang strength when you go up, especially yung mga nagsisimulang mag low carb na nagwo-workout that are not increasing their electrolyte intake. That's a common manifestation. And for others naman, leg cramps. Kinigising sila in the middle of the night na nagka-cramps. Yung iba din is constipation kasi hindi na gumagalaw yung kanilang intestine. So that's parang hypokalemic na gastropathy, yung hindi na gumagalaw because electrolytes like potassium is an intracellular electrolytes na very, very essential for muscular contraction, muscular activity. So, yun. I hope I was able to answer your question. But to make it simple, yes, pwede kang kumain yan 3 times a day ng walang kain or kahit naka-fasting given that you are taking enough within the RDA or kung ano lang yung kailangan.
Okay, next question. What are the main reasons po bakit tumataas ang SGPT?
So,
Liver
SGPT,
liver enzyme,
liver enzyme.
intracellular
Liver
So-
enzyme. So, kapag tumaas yan, meaning
and damage.
may damage na sa kidney. So,
Sa
yung
liver.
liver cells. So, the hepatocytes or the liver cells, sila ay dapat nakahouse sa loob yung mga SGPT, the liver enzymes. And the moment they get damaged, so they burst out, pumuputok sila. And those are the times na nag-overspill sila sa ating bloodstream. That's why tumataas yung SGPT. Certain medications can actually do liver damage. I've had that a couple of months ago, way back on my first retreat noong March. Nung tumaas yung SGPT ko, and the only reason na nag-iba sa routine ko that time was I took ibuprofen plus paracetamol combination na NSAID, na pain reliever. So, but in general, ano yung isa sa pinaka-common na nagkakos ng liver damage, like this one?
Hepatitis, ano pa?
Fatty
Fatty
liver.
liver. Pwede.
Fatty liver. When
Pero
it
may
comes to
study kasi
nutrition.
yung TO namin, si
Ah.
Dr. Padilio. Yun yung study niya, kung may correlation ba.
Oo.
SGPT at fatty liver.
Wala.
Sa study niya wala, pero konti lang kasi yung ano.
Pati yung subject.
Kasi hindi natin, hindi natin tayo sure.
So, and it's also, but was he able to correlate yung degree of fatty liver? Mild, moderate, severe?
Hindi ko na.
Because if, of course, if it's just mild fatty liver, most likely wala
Wala
ba talaga?
talaga.
Kasi contained lang. But if it's already severe fatty liver or ano na, ano bang next nga? NASH,
And alcoholics, hepatitis,
steatohepatitis, same,
steatohepatosis siguro.
hepatosis pa.
Ah,
Steatohepatosis, yung inflammation, no?
inflammation.
After the fatty liver
Oo nga na.
uh,
Severity siguro.
severity. So, because fatty liver, ibig sabihin your liver can still accommodate the fats na pinoproduce because of inflammation. But the more moment na you go beyond the inflammation, the accommodation of fats, it's now becomes inflamed, and yun na yung
Hindi damage sa
liver
cells.
damage sa
Okay.
cells.
Pwede.
So, yun yung mga reason. So, hepatitis, viral infections, drugs, and lifestyle can lead into liver damage. So, lifestyle, alcoholism, and even non-alcoholic. Hello, Angelica Sibal.
Ito lang. Ask ko kung saan na po makikita yung last day ng day 21 sa class about CKD until now.
Oh, nandiyan na yan.
Yes,
To our admins, kindly tag Ma'am Mirna to our day 21 na yung day 21 class natin for CKD. Thank you po for asking.
May low carb po ba na ice cream po?
Yes, meron yan. You can make your own. Yung pinaka-basic, any low-carb fruit. Like, kung gusto mo ng flavor, ano ba yung paborito kong ginagawa na low-carb ice cream? Either strawberry or avocado or ube or just plain vanilla or cheese. So, either none, gagamitin mo, and then you blend it with heavy cream, any heavy cream, and then lagyan lang stevia stevia or erythritol na sweetener for special occasions. Chocolate also, cocoa. And kung gusto mo mas masarap, lagyan ng cream cheese. And then i-freeze mo lang. So it's no cooked ice cream. Sobrang sarap. But if you want to have that distinct na ice cream na taste, you cook it slow cook, nalagyan mo ng egg yolk. Sobrang sarap. So, because real ice cream, the traditional ice cream, merong eggs yan. So, yun yung magbibigay ng egg taste. So, that could be your low-carb ice cream.
Okay. Good evening, Doc. How to avoid or remove keto breath po?
So, you just continue what you do. Eventually, magiging fat adapted ka at mawawala yan. So, keto breath will just be temporary. Usually, it happens when you are adjusting. Nagsimula ka pa lang when it comes to your low carb and fasting journey. And if you overdo your fasting or your keto diet more than your body's capacity to use ketones. So, this is what happens. If you are on high carb before, yung katawan mo, if we give units, no? Like yung 100% of your body is so used to using glucose. Sanay siya na glucose yung ginagamit niyang energy. And then suddenly, bigla ka nag-decide kasi nakapanood ka ng video na merong isang doktor na hindi na nagsasaing for 3 years at nadala ka at sinubukan mo, nag-low carb ka agad, tinanggal mo na yung rice at lahat ng sugar. And then, nakita mo rin yung isa sa mga coaches natin, nag-exercise ka din. And then, meron ka rin, na-inspire ka rin sa fasting na hindi rin kumakain. Nag-fasting ka ng 20 hours daily. So, your body, immediately, in 18 hours ng day 1 na pagsisimula mo, is already producing ketones. So, your body is producing a lot of ketones, pero your body is still not accepting ketones. Gumawa siya ng ketones, pero hindi pa siya sanay gumamit nito. Because if you are 35 years old, so that's 35 years of your body, mostly yung machinery na ginagamit niya is for glucose lang. It will take some time for your body to be fat adapted, na masanay siya na yung gagamitin lang niya na energy would be coming from fats, coming from ketones. So, magkakaroon yan ng ketone wasting. So, lalabas lang, gumagawa ng ketones yung sarili mo, pero hindi rin siya tinatanggap ng mga cells sa katawan mo kasi hindi pa siya sanay, hindi mo siya pwedeng biglain. So, it's being released in your body in many ways. Pwede sa ihi. So, yon, meron ding keto na odor, yung urine mo. Keto breath sa hininga. Ketone odor sa body odor, even in your sweat. At yung iba nga, nagkakaroon pa ng mga keto rash, nangangate. Because ketones can also increase your hypersensitivity to histamine. So, para kang nagkakaroon ng allergic breakout. So, kung merong mga ganon, try to cut down muna yung inyong physical activity para wag muna magmadali. And then, hindi nyo kailangan mag-keto diet agad-agad if you are already experiencing that. Just do low carb. 2 weeks of just low carb. Make sure also that you are enough when it comes to your water and electrolyte intake at makikita mo lang that your body will just be able to adjust very, very smoothly nang walang keto breath and walang keto odor. But for me, na-experience ko yan if I do dry fasting like 2 days, 3 days because it's a sudden na mga dips to ketosis, very, very deep ketosis nagkakaroon yan. So kapag nagkaroon ng mga time na yon, I just isolate myself para hindi naman magkaroon ng discomfort yung ibang tao. Anyway, I've been alone for the longest time, so wala naman. Actually, hindi ko kailangan i-isolate yung sarili ko kasi wala naman akong i-isolate from. But ngayon, I already have love na masabi na pabebe na lang ng pabebe. Puro na lang love, wala ng low carb. So now, this is for you, sir, na magkukwentuhan na tayo low carb and fasting nutrition while at the same time maglalab-lab pa din. Hindi kailangan, no? Hindi kailangan i-separate lahat ng bagay. And as a reminder, this is a special live Q&A for a cause. Ask a question, give a shoe project for the benefit of 100 kids in Soriano Elementary School, La Castellana, Negros, Occidental, August 2022. If ever you want to donate, this is a partnership with a joint project of our foundation, Bayanihan Mission, and People Engaged in People Project. Kung gusto nyong magkaroon ng tax deduction, we will provide a receipt. Just send a message and then show your proof of fund transfer and we will send you the official receipt kung gusto nyo lang. And if you want to recognize, please, mas gusto namin malaman kung sino yung mga pasasalamatan, send a screenshot sa ating or photo of your transfer sa ating admins para ma-account natin lahat. Okay, so this is the bank account of the foundation. Maraming salamat po. Okay, you still have few more minutes.
Nasaan na yan? Ito. Good evening, Doc. I'm 52 kilograms. 58 kilograms before, nag-low carb ngayon, 46 kilograms na lang. I'm 52. 58 kilograms before, nag-low carb ngayon, 46 kilograms na lang. Ano po dapat kadami ang kakainin? Kung na protein araw-araw, Doc, kasi sabi nila tumanda daw ako, pero Doc, nawala na ang acid reflux ko.
That's really a common concern, no? Even in our masterclass groups. Yung yung biglang pagbaba ng timbang na mababa na, yung tinitingnan na tumanda daw. Same age lang ni Mami. No? 52? 52 ba si Mami?
52, oo. Tapos si Mami.
Mami is 67. So, Mami Gina is 52. And I think isa din yun sasabi niya before na merong mga nagsasabi sa kanya na parang she aged right after. Pero it will pick up after the sudden weight loss. Eventually, your skin will just tighten. Meron lang talagang panahon na pagkatapos mag-low carb, very successful na bumagsak yung timbang. Para sa mga gustong mag-weight loss, di ba? Parang gusto ko yung problema na yan. But actually, losing weight is very easy and it's actually a little more challenging to gain weight. So, wag kayong magmadali. And then for this one, same thing that you can do. Increase your proteins. There is a calculator for our admins. Kindly, or you can search, ma'am, Optimizing Nutrition, the website. This is made by our friend who is also a low carber, an engineer from Australia, Marty Kendall. And meron diyang calculator kung gaano karami yung protein na kakainin mo, na re-require mong kainin in a day depending on your goals. And if ever naman, you're also welcome to join our masterclass na kung saan ina-itemize din natin yung food allocation, yung macronutrient allocation, kung gaano karami yung carbs, fats, and proteins na kakainin according to your health goal, anong healing yung gusto mo, ano yung health issue mo, and at the same time kung ano yung weight goal mo. So you can be healed from, yes, acid reflux, from GERD, while at the same time preserving your weight maintenance or losing weight if gusto mo weight loss, or increasing your weight the healthy way, muscle lean body mass na gain. So as mentioned a while ago, hindi nyo, merong computation dyan, but generally hindi mo kailangan i-compute because it's so hard to overeat proteins. Di ba nga ang hirap
Yeah.
i-reach
Hirap
yung
i-reach yung ano niya.
protein required. So, as for me, actually, you can just eat as much as you want proteins as long as wala namang contraindication na alam na specific clinical indication talaga to limit proteins. You cannot overdo eating proteins, especially if it's just good quality proteins. Ano yung paborito mong protein?
Chicken, pork, beef, yun lang naman.
Shrimp?
Not so much.
Kung gambas lang?
Kung gambas lang. May taste kasi.
Yung lasa ng gambas lang yung gusto mo. Good evening! Sige. I think we can still have 2 or 3 more questions.
Hi Doc, ask ko lang po, ang ringing ears na non-stop po ang ringing sound. Nagpa-consult po kuryente and was advised to undergo CT scan but hindi po nagawa because nakaalis na po out of the country. Any advice po what to do to get better?
So that is what we call as tinnitus or tinnitus. So it's the ringing of ears. Yung parang meron ng monotone sound na nagkaka-experience ka ba nun?
Yeah.
Wala. Wow, so good. Meron akong mga ganyan parate. At yun talaga, it's already a given in ENT na isa siya sa mga common happening. It can be very disturbing, but no, na it can also be not really pathologic. Pwedeng walang problema, but you can have those. But it, as a very common manifestation, it could still be a sign of inflammation because it's like merong continuous na stimulation yung nerves causing that erroneous na mental reception na merong sound na nakikreate kahit walang sound na ganyan. So, part of the triad also of Meniere's disease, tinnitus, and low hearing or problem with hearing loss, and also vertigo. So kung nahihilo ka, nagkakaroon ka ng ringing sa ears, and then meron ding pagkabingi, then yes, it's necessary to do further workup. While wala pa, you can just stick with our safe list low carb, and maybe you can also incorporate some degree of fasting, and hopefully you can see na it can improve. Marami na nag-improve. Kahit vertigo, nag-improve with low-carb nutrition and fasting. If you are still not starting, kasi marami sa ating mga viewers na parating nanonood, very, very supportive sa ating platform, but hindi sila ng low-carb. Nanonood lang nila. So, hi sa lahat ng nanonood lang na hindi pa low-carb, na gustong mag-try. So, yun yung usual na sinasabi ko, na it's okay. Maybe you are one of the lucky ones na hindi pa walang health issues na enough to push you, to motivate you to really do it. So maybe you are still at the top of your health, so that is good. But I hope hindi darating yung panahon na magkakaroon ka ng health issue. But if ever you will have health issue later on, then you can just try to do low carb nutrition and fasting and see maybe ito yung mga makakatulong sa inyo, and that could be the motivation that you might need. Like for example, for this one, yung concern mo here, ringing of ears lang, but malay mo when you do low carb, you are also avoiding other complications like experiencing diabetes, hypertension, and other more serious health problems.
Okay. Ano po dapat at hindi dapat kainin pag may peptic ulcer disease?
So, generally, yung peptic ulcer disease ay meron na talagang ulcer. So, the usual na iwasan yung mga spicy, yung mga maasim, kasi meron ng break. Pero, sa totoo lang, if you've been treated already, peptic ulcer disease or the ulcer formation might not be there anymore. Hindi siya ganun. Because our stomach, yung ating lining ng ating tiyan, it heals without scarring. Pwede siyang mag-heal na parang completely. It's 100% okay, better, tulad nung pinanganak ka. So, pwede na wala ng ulcer dyan. And when it comes to food, Still, it's the inflammatory foods that you should avoid, the ones in our danger list and in our caution list. So try to search for hashtag JGC Rojo food list. Meron yung danger, caution, and safe list. Foods to avoid, caution, and danger list, and eat the one in the safe list muna. And you can do so even just 24 hours. Magugulat ka instantly. Wala na yung inyong sakit sa tiyan. Yung manifestations of yung sinisikmura, hyperacidity, it will be gone.
Mm. Hello, Doc. Grace, and to your one true love, Doc Ken. Doc, I'm doing low carb for almost a year now, and now ko lang na-feel na ang sakit ng left joint ko sa tuhod. Any
Mm.
idea po, Doc?
So,
Katulad,
1 year of doing low carb, sakit, are you doing exercise? Because it might not be related to low carb. Baka na-overdo yung exercise mo, especially. Kaya, when it comes to exercise, no, it's not just about walking and running. Actually, the healthier form of exercise would be weightlifting. So, walking and running, yes, it's very good for your heart, but it might not be very good for your joints.
joints.
No? Na,
Mm.
na numinipis yung cartilage
Mm.
ng joints, and once yung buto, kumakain ba kayo ng fried chicken, di ba yung knuckle, and then another knuckle, merong cartilage na kinatanggal natin at kinakain. Hindi mo kinakain yan, yung cartilage. Ako kinakain ko yan because it's crunchy. And then, numinipis yan. So, kapag numinipis yan, so it's now bone to bone. So, it's going to be very painful. So, try to look at your physical activity. Maybe you are walking and lifting weights at the same time. Yung iba, di ba, nagwo-walking pa na may mga
Ah,
weights. So, that could be trauma to your joints. If not naman, other causes would be arthritis. And then there is what we call as gouty arthritis. And there's also other things that can cause inflammation, that can cause arthritis. This is outlined in our autoimmune and inflammation masterclass. If you wish to know more, baka kailangan kang change ng inyong low carb, because our general safe list might not be that safe for certain individuals who are prone to inflammatory diseases such as arthritis, yung mga autoimmune forms of arthritis. There is a food elimination protocol. You can see for yourself. Maybe it will work on you.
okay, next. Why is creatinine increasing among those following low carb diet? How to counteract this?
Actually, hindi siya increasing among following low carb. Marami na kaming pasyente na after they do low carb the right way, the safe way, especially the ones na naka-enroll sa aming masterclass, the ones we are monitoring and being guided, bumababa yung kanilang creatinine. Kung nag-increase man yung inyong creatinine, maybe it's the inflammatory kind of low carb. So I wouldn't know what kind of low carb that you are doing kung yan yung ang tumataas. But creatinine, if one time lang naman tumaas, I suggest you have it checked. Kasi karamihan, when they check their creatinine, it's together with their FBS, with their lipid profile. So, naka-fasting sila.
Fasting.
So, they are dehydrated. So, nagkakaroon ng false positive na increase in creatinine. So, if that's the case, kung kinuha nyo ito while you are fasting, I suggest you do another test ng creatinine only na hindi kayo naka-fasting. Make sure you are well hydrated and see for yourself. Wala mo ng electrolyte drink nung tinitake yung kapag kunin ito, and you can see and you can compare. Hopefully, it's not going to increase.
Okay. Hello, Doc. Good evening po. Pasok po ba yung saging na saba or cardava sa keto? Thank you po.
Okay, so keto generally, kung kakain ka ng saging sa keto, baka yung makakain mong saging is kalahati lang, and you are not allowed to eat any other
Sugar
carbs
containing.
or kahit vegetables. Mawawalan ka na ng allowance for vegetables because one small saging is already 20 grams of net carbs, and keto diet is having a maximum ceiling of 20 grams of net carbs per day. So if you want to do low carb, it might be best to avoid that so that you can enjoy more other low carb foods na merong kakaunting trace na carbs that you can accommodate. And I think I made a video about that. You can just search in YouTube yung bakit ayaw ko ng saging. I think meron
Meron,
ako
meron,
ano
meron
na.
yan.
Sige.
Ito,
Last one?
sige. Hi Doc, father, 52 years old. So kasi 200 yung blood sugar. Doctor gave him maintenance for diabetes. And then, applicable po ba ang low carb sa kanya?
Sige.
Parang si daddy.
Oh, so for the last one, si Love, kukwentuhan niya kayo yung journey ni Daddy Neil. So, si Daddy is...
Yeah. 52 years old din yung daddy ko.
talaga? Ay, oh, no?
Ah.
Wow!
So, similar.
Hindi mo kaya Daddy to?
So, yun, for the longest time, mataas yung fasting blood sugar. Pero hindi umabot ng 200, nasa 100 plus lang ata.
FBS, no? FBS.
FBS.
Okay.
And then, yun, may maintenance din siya for diabetes. And then, nung nagkausap sila nila,
3 weeks ago ba
3
yun?
weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, somewhat na na naengganyo niya yung daddy ko na mag low carb. Tapos yun, nag low carb siya, nagpakuha siya ng blood test. At yun, 88 na lang, normal na.
After a week, no?
After a week. Tapos wala nang medication din. So yun, ang saya niya. At sabi niya, hindi na daw siya babalik sa high carb diet.
Because just like most dads, very attached si Daddy din before
Attached siya sa rice, sa saging.
saging. Bread. Oh.
So yun, eliminate niya lahat. Wala nang rice, wala nang saging at yung mga bread.
And then
now, yun, normal na yung blood sugar.
Oh.
At wala na siyang medication sa diabetes.
Nice.
Kaya,
Kasi,
parang magic.
Parang magic, no? You got to believe in magic. At kasi si Mommy, naglo-low carb na since 2020. So, kami ni Love, since 2019, naglo-low carb na kami. As friends, naglo-low carb na kami. So, we've been doing it, although hindi ganun ka-strict before, pero somewhat, at least na-eliminate. Hindi na talaga katulad. Kung hindi man siya low carb, at least lower carb. Like, as compared before, na hindi ka talaga nag-iisip na French fries, and then pasta, and then bread, and then rice pa. So, lahat-lahat na. No. So, yun. So, pwede ba mag-low carb? Yes, pwede. And if meron ng medications, it's better to do it the guided way. Either work with your physician or our low carb doctors, or you can also join our masterclass for diabetes na kung saan marami na rin natulungan. So, what's one of the biggest communities that we have, an exclusive community. Nasa yung 14-day masterclass natin, I think nasa around 3,000 na members, okay? And yeah, you are welcome to join so that hindi lang either ikaw or yung daddy mo mismo, so that you can learn. Yung isa sa mga vision namin actually when it comes to LCF Masterclass is to have at least one member lang in the family be knowledgeable about low carb and fasting nutrition, at ikaw na mismo ang magtuturo sa whole family mo. One way that you can also do is gumawa ng specific account na you can share in your family, para isang account lang, and then lahat kayo, you can learn on your own. Hindi natin yan pinagdadamot. You can share it to your family and friends para isa lang yung mag-e-enroll, pero lahat ay matututo na. So, thank you so much, everyone. I think that ends our live Q&A. So, this
1 hour
is...
na pala, no?
1 hour na. So, LCF live Q&A for a cause. Ask a question, give a shoe project for the benefit of the kids in Soriano Elementary School, La Castellana, Negros, Occidental. Maraming salamat for those who contributed and being a part of our Thanksgiving to the universe, that we were able to find each other. And thank you for being a part of that Thanksgiving. And this is a joint project by our foundation, Bayanihan Mission, and People Engaged in People Project Inc. And for those who wish to donate for our charity project, so you can deposit this in our foundation's bank account. Okay? So, yan lang. Maraming salamat, everybody. And for those who wish to join the guided way, you are very much welcome to join our LCF Masterclass by yours truly. Send a message to the admins here in Facebook, or also in our email. Send an email para matulungan namin kayo for our meet and greet. You can contact these numbers to coordinate with them, especially our meet and greet this coming September 8th in Cebu City, kung ano yung guidelines. And lastly, for those who wish to join our growing community, more than 400,000 na in Life Without Rice for low carb Pinoy food inspirations and also for support and questions, low carb feasting and fasting community. So these are just free groups that you can join, and you can keep on watching our YouTube and Facebook videos to learn more. So yun lang po. Maraming salamat everyone. Stay low carb, stay safe. Bye! Wait lang. Mag-picture muna tayo. Picture muna kami. So, love, ganyan ka. Smile. Ay, bakit kaya? Sorry, love. One, two, three. Sandali lang. Smile, everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.